Hey everyone, it's Kid. At long last, I have that Netrunner build I promised you 3 months ago. Ooh, shit. Well, I suppose I've kept you waiting long enough. Let's get into it, shall we? Starting off with attributes, we're going to want 20 intelligence and 16 body, completing this build at level 25 and leaving 25 more attributes to use as you see fit. The intelligence opens the door for perks, cyberware, and legendary quickhacks, while the body gives us access to one key perk I'll explain later on. I want to tell you right now, this build will still keep about 95% of its same functionality and power without the investment to body, but that investment will offer a number of routes for multi-classing, cyberwares you can pick up that I won't be including in this guide, and the ability to explore Night City more freely. Plus, without some kind of stat investment, there just wouldn't be nearly enough perk points to actually finish this build. For perks, we'll start in Quickhacking. Obviously there's a lot here, so let's get into it. By the end of this build, you'll want to pick up and max out Bloodware, Biosynergy, Forget-Me-Not, Hacker's Manual, Daisy Chain, Signal Support, Subliminal Message, Diffusion, School of Hard Hacks, Plague, Hacker Overlord, Optimization, Bartmoss Legacy, and Anamnesis. This is an eclectic grouping, so let's try to make sense of it. The perks I have highlighted in red should be picked up and maxed out as soon as possible during gameplay. These are Bloodware, Biosynergy, Forget-Me-Not, Signal Support, Subliminal Message, Optimization, and Anamnesis. These perks give the build its most immediate boost to effectiveness and craft the playstyle into something more powerful. The only perks you should prioritize over these ones are the crafting perks. As soon as those perks become available, grab them. Upgrading your hacks as we go will increase their effectiveness more than any individual perk and provide additional bonuses once we hit the legendary tier. The perks Plague, Diffusion, and Daisy Chain are powerful assets, but really shouldn't be bought until after the other perks are maxed, and certainly not before reaching legendary tier quickhacks. As a last note, I've opted not to pick up the critical error perk for this build. In past versions of the game, crit stacking could lead to some incredibly high damage numbers by applying them to quickhacks. With the balance changes from 1.5, however, crit stacking is more or less a thing of the past, and so a reliance on raw damage is going to be more consistent for this build. From Breach Protocol, we're going to want to pick up Mass Vulnerability Resistances, Mass Vulnerability Quickhacks, Total Recall, Totaler Recall, and Buffer Optimization. I can honestly say that in casual gameplay I prefer not to use Breach Protocol, as it really feels like it interrupts the gameplay loop for me. But in drawn out engagements and against high level threat enemies, these tools can be really useful to have. That brings us to our final perk from the Annihilation tree, Burn Baby Burn. It may seem like a waste to invest so heavily into body for a single perk, but body adds significant survivability, the perk has a powerful if not niche use, and we need some way to afford all the perks for this one. Plus, the build is finished at level 25, and bodies seem like the best stat for players to class into other options. All that said, if you really can't justify the 16 body in your build, then don't. It'll still be plenty of powerful with just 20 intelligence. For Cyberware, I have only 2 required Cyberware, being the Stevenson Tech Mark IV Cyber Deck and the Rare Memory Boost. But optionally you can also add on the Epic X Disc. In truth, the optional piece is pretty unimportant, but I found a free version so I wanted to share. Starting with the Cyber Deck, you can pick the Stevenson up from the Ripper found here in Pacifico once you hit 40 street cred. Stevenson may seem like an odd choice compared to what are arguably more powerful cyber decks like the Netwatch NetDriver and the Raven Microcyber, But your Quickhacks will be powerful no matter which cyber deck you use, and power isn't the only factor to consider as a Netrunner. You also need to consider factors like available RAM, Quickhack cooldowns, and upload speed. The Stevenson does falter a bit in the available RAM due to not providing any additional RAM recovery like other cyber decks, but it's top tier in cooldowns and upload times, which I found to be a more consistent nuisance during gameplay than available RAM. With perks and Cyberware, RAM recovery is never an issue in general gameplay anyway, and only crops up during fights with exceedingly powerful enemies, of which this game has only 3. That said, once we grab the perk Amnesis, this issue is all but eliminated due to the guaranteed RAM space the perk provides. The rare version of the memory boost is going to be a huge piece for this build, providing us with great RAM recovery as we wipe out enemies. You can pick up the Cyberware for free by completing the Assault in Progress found here in Japantown and heading to a Ripper to install it. While rare is the highest tier available in the game right now, don't let its rarity fool you. This piece is powerful and will keep you in engagements better than any other Cyberware in the game. Finally, we get to the X disc. Extra RAM is nice, and so is free. Loot this one from the Assault in Progress found here in Haywood, and equip it at your leisure. If there's a Cyberware you'd rather use, or a better version you want to equip, then do that. I just wanted to give you something nice for free. Finally, let's talk Quickhacks. For this one, you're going to want the legendary versions of Short Circuit, Overheat, Contagion, Sonic Shock, and System Reset. Speaking to the uses of these hacks, I'd divide them into 2 categories. Combat hacks, which will get used pretty consistently in general gameplay, and support hacks that won't get used much, but add significant power through their legendary effects. Short Circuit is going to act as our single target pickoff with high damage, quick upload, and instantaneous effect. It's simple, it works great, and it needs no further explanation. Overheat is one of the most important hacks for this build. Most Netrunner builds struggle with high health enemies, but a single upload, Overheat can deal upwards of 40,000 damage with the right conditions. This is also the reason why you invest so significantly into Body. Since Overheat functions by setting enemies on fire, Burn Baby Burn does in fact increase the duration and by extension the damage of this hack, although not quite by double. Contagion will act as our multi-target option and will serve to weaken groups of enemies or take them out entirely. This said, Contagion works best in small, isolated groups, usually 3 to 4 enemies to function best, and you aren't going to see this quick hack be effective until it's at least its epic or legendary variant. Unlike with Overheat, I could not justify the investment into Cool to pick up the Neurotoxin perk for double the poison damage. Typical enemies just don't have enough health for this perk to matter in the first place, and with high threat enemies such as Cyber Psychos, I actually found the damage would decrease for some reason, unless we also had the Hasten the Inevitable perk. The legendary effect of the Sonic Shock Quick Hack cuts enemies off from their local network when they're affected by one of your hacks. This keeps them from alerting their chooms when you're hacking them from stealth, and so never again will you have to deal with the revealing positions bar of enemies trying to find your location. This said, if you hack an enemy, they will immediately recognize that they are cut off from the network and will attempt to seek you out, even if they don't alert their friends. This means that if you were to cut off, say, every enemy from the network all at once, all of them would be aware of your presence. In simpler terms, don't use ping with this setup. Finally, we get to System Reset. This hack is powerful in its own right, but not against bosses and mini-bosses who are generally immune to ultimate quick hacks. However, its real power comes from its legendary effect, which reduces the RAM cost of your next quick hack for every enemy defeated. Paired with powerful combat hacks like Contagion and Short Circuit, and you'll never pay sticker price for your quick hacks again. And that's the build. This was a really fun one to make, and being able to walk into a fight and take out every enemy without ever being detected is honestly one of the coolest things you can do in this game. Like this video if you find the guide helpful, comment any questions or ideas for future builds, subscribe for more videos like this one, and don't forget to stay tuned for the leveling guide. Leveling on this one is pretty straightforward. Start by giving your character 6 intelligence and 6 body, and 1 in any other stat that you want. For levels 2 through 15, go all in on intelligence until it hits 20. For the Quickhacking perks, prioritize the crafting perks first, and the perks that were highlighted in red second. In particular though, I would focus on maxing out Biosynergy, Bloodware, and Signal Support. After those are maxed out, start filling out the rest of the perks in whatever order you prefer. As you progress, you will likely need to get a cyber deck between the start of the game and the time you can afford a Stevenson Mark IV. So when you hit 14 street cred, pick up the Tetratronic Mark II cyber deck. This is purchasable from Dr. Chrome and Watson, has a reasonable price, and will boost the damage of your Quickhacks, making them much more effective in the early game. Once you hit 12 intelligence, head over to Japantown and pick up the memory boost from the previously mentioned Assault in Progress. By this point in the game, you should be strong enough to take the enemies down without too much issue, but if you are struggling, feel free to just come back to the location when you are a higher level. Once you reach 16 intelligence, you'll want to grab the Hacker Overlord perk and begin to upgrade your Quickhacks if you have not begun to do so already. How this system works is that in order to craft the epic or legendary version of a Quickhack, you must have the previous version of the hack and the necessary components. Luckily, the hacks can be pretty easily crafted, but you will need the necessary materials. I recommend heading to this hack vendor in Pacifica, as they sell the epic and legendary components, and may even sell some of the epic versions of the hacks that you need. Start by upgrading your Short Circuit and Contagion Quickhacks to epic, then follow with the rest. When you hit 20 intelligence, grab the Bart Moss Legacy perk and upgrade your Sonic Shock Quickhack to legendary. This one's legendary effect is the most potent of all your hacks, hence why I would recommend this be the first one you upgrade to legendary. For levels 16 to 25, put all your points into body and fill out the rest of the perks for this build. In general, I would start by purchasing the rest of the Quickhack perks, then the Breach Protocol perks, and finally the perk Burn Baby Burn. At this point, the last thing that you need to do is reach your 40 street cred and purchase the Stevenson Mark IV, and this build is complete. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas for future builds. Otherwise, this has been Kid, and I'll see you next time.